everybody. Happy Friday before July 4th. And I am actually taking off after this. I have a lot of work to do this weekend, but it'll be deep, focused, concentrated work without all the disruptions. So I'm totally looking forward to it. And I'm sorry, I'm a total sun lover, but I'm actually kind of glad we're going to have some rain. So anyway, so for this morning, I have some special guests I'm super excited to introduce to you. They're both agents with J. Phillip Real Estate, and they have started a very exciting new endeavor in their careers. So I would like to bring on Tana McGuire and Tony Ruperto.
Hi, Tana.
Hello.
How's everything going? You guys are good?
Yeah, all is well. Can't complain. I could. No one would care.
No. Everybody's too busy complaining themselves.
Right.
So you guys recently graduated from, I think it's the first Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors Leadership Accelerator program. So that consisted of 9 sessions over 9 months, learning about different leadership styles. So whoever, I want to hear from both of you. So what made you decide to enter into this program?
Well, yeah, I'll go first. I think either Phil or Gail had reached out to me because I had mentioned that I wanted to be a little bit more involved with the association, just beyond what I do on a daily real estate basis. I wanted to do more to contribute to the community. So Phil and Gail had reached out and said, hey, I think this would be a really good way for you to do what you want to do. I looked over what they had planned for all of the 9 months. Seemed like really good stuff. And it also is just outside of growing within the association, growing yourself, learning how to be a leader. And that's something that I wanted to do because, that's the goals I have for the future for my business. And those are the things that are going to help me.
Awesome. And did it all of that get fulfilled?
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah, I think Tana can attest to that as well. Definitely.
So Tana, what made you decide?
So Gail called me as well. And also a realtor in our company, Alyssa Hadoff, had called me and said, I just sat in on this program, this information program at HGAR, and I couldn't think of a better person that would fit what they were looking for as leadership. So coming from a background of being in my own business, it seemed like it was just a natural segue from one business into my new life in real estate and, getting into leadership there.
Awesome. So they said that the program would be talking and teaching about different styles of leadership. So tell me a little bit more about that. I guess we'll start with you, Tony.
Yeah. Each different session had different focus on it. There was one session that was from all of the different past presidents at HGAR, which was definitely my favorite. And that one specifically did focus on learning about different styles of leadership and honing in on yours, which resonated with me because I went into the program and I was like, there's a formula. I'm going to follow the formula and I'm going to be a leader. And it wasn't that at all. It was all about what are you good at? What makes you unique? What do you have that nobody else has? Or what are you really good at that nobody else is really good at? Focus on that. And that's what you're going to make into your leadership skills. And that's what you're going to use to lead yourself and other people. So when I had saw all the different past presidents, I mean, they are so completely different in so many ways.
God, yes.
Yeah, but they've all done great things and they've all contributed amazing things to the association. So seeing that, I was like, oh, I think I've been worrying about the wrong thing. Maybe I should just look at what I'm good at, focus on me, and stop trying to,
copy something like there's no model, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I feel that. That. Well, that's awesome. I actually totally believe, number one, leaning into your strengths always for leadership, but also your weaknesses, really understanding your weaknesses and not being afraid of them. So I agree wholeheartedly. That's an important lesson.
Yeah.
to learn and to feel empowered, when you and not compare, no comparison, really find that inner voice of leadership. So what about you, Tana?
So although they did put a lot of time into talking about the different styles of leadership, one thing that they definitely went across the board with, all having the same aspect of finding other leaders through those that you're leading at that time too, to kind of create more ground on what it is that you're trying to do. So it was great to see that although there were some differences, there were some things that we could take that were the same from every single person. Find who the leader is in the group and push them to the top. So it was just constantly rising the good up, empowering.
So they didn't actually come out with like different labels of different leadership styles?
Not
I don't
really.
recall.
No, it was more about different people talking about their leadership style and how they've gone about it, instead of saying, here's someone who's steadfast, here's someone who's really good at math, here's some, it was just different people talking about their different styles and learning through their experiences.
And some of them were bad experiences, right, Tony?
Yeah.
You heard some really crazy stories from people and how they overcame those issues and worked through them, which was good. Problem solving.
Well, that's just it. The more you understand that, like, the struggles really help you hone those leadership skills, then you sort of like, I've started approaching it like, okay, like, bring it on. Like, let's see what tools I have to solve this problem. Like, I woke up this morning to a huge problem. It's like, all right, so don't panic, don't go into that mode, deal with it head on, and then figure out what you got to do. And then it becomes a little bit more fun, for sure. And I'm actually reading this awesome book called The Millionaire Coach. And it's about a guy, Bill Campbell, who was a football coach. And his leadership style just totally did not work for the football field. So he went to Silicon Valley and became a coach for the CEOs and executive leaders for big companies in Silicon Valley, like Google and Intuit and like you name it. So it's pretty interesting read, because his style was completely different than Silicon Valley, did not work on a football field whatsoever, although all his teammates loved him and, he was well revered. He did not coach to winning. So he goes to Silicon Valley and his style of leadership is exactly what they needed there. And it was more about that, like, building connections and leading with love and compassion and finding the leader in the group and grooming them and finding the leader in everybody and raising it to the top. And they all these huge Silicon Valley companies attribute him to some major successes, like the iPhone and go on. I can go on and on. So very interesting. Good. So you guys had a group project. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah.
That's Tony's baby.
Yeah.
Phenomenal job, Tony.
We all definitely had a hand in it. We, as a class, had to elect 2 group leaders, class leaders, to kind of spearhead the project. And that was myself and Ralph Gabay, who is with Empire Home Inspections, I believe. And we didn't have any sort of guidance from staff. They were literally just like, do something. We don't have to tell you what to do. Just do something. It has to benefit the association. So just create something. And we were like, okay, that's a bit general. So I remember I had an idea for something. I had reached out for all of us to get together. We talked about it, and then we all decided on something else. So what we are basically doing is we created an outreach program for new members at the association. We wanted to do something that would last beyond us. We didn't want to just do something that was a one-time kind of thing. And we also wanted to do something that was targeted towards new members and getting them engaged in the association right from the start, instead of trying to convert people who have been in the association forever and have never really wanted to go about it. We said it's probably easier to get them right from when they start if we want to have them be involved. So there are two main parts. The first one is basically a 12-month drip campaign that will go on for the first year of a new member's time in the association. Every month, they will get an email written by one of all of us. We separated it out so that everybody has an email that they're working on. So every month, there will be a different topic about HGAR that goes out and how they can get involved. And then the second part is a phone call that we will all be making for the next 6 months. We will all be calling every single new member, welcoming them into the community, asking if they need anything, asking for feedback about orientation, and then just giving them a heads up about the emails.
Great.
So, yeah.
That's great. You know, it's fantastic because I remember, and even when I was starting to get involved, it was easier in Putnam than when I jumped over into leadership in Westchester. Even on the leadership level, it was really hard to break in. I remember like texting a couple of people like, hey, I know you're going to be in Albany. Like, what's everybody doing for dinner? And I basically got like, put your big girl panties on and you'll be fine. And we're not sure. And I'm like, okay. What people don't know about me though, is I actually have a very severe case of social anxiety, which most people would not know, because the way I deal with it is I just become in charge, then I'm fine. So it was hard because I was not in charge. It's like a 20-member board, or, you know, is craziness. So, so if that was a problem up here, it's definitely a problem from the very beginning, you know, getting on board. And especially now in the era of, listen, when we would take our classes in person, you built this community. You had like at least 3 to 5 people that you got started with, and I'm still connected with to this day, you know, 25 years later. But, you know, with most of that training being done online, I would imagine that people kind of, and since we merged with One Key, it makes it feel even bigger. So I think that's fantastic, and you are spot on with doing that kind of project. Actually, at J. Phillip, we're launching something similar. So we will be taking turns with the core team of reaching out to the entire company once a month, and then also doing like you're doing very smartly. It's almost like in-house marketing. You're marketing to these new members so that they are aware of all the services, all the benefits, and all the great stuff. So we're doing something similar, and I think it's really, really smart, and it's needed more now than ever. So many of us have spent a lot of isolated time, and if you even have a touch of social anxiety or a touch of shyness, or, you know, any of that, it's exacerbated, I think. And so that reach out is going to be really powerful. So kudos to you guys. Fantastic. I can't wait to see the emails. Can we see the emails even though we're not new agents?
I mean, seeing as we made them, yeah, totally.
I think it's a great example of leadership, and you know how leadership is not about me. It's about what can I give back? How can I support my community? How can I make sure even the weakest member is feeling taken care of and loved? And it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think that like we've come full circle, even with all the technology and all that, it's really coming back to those basic needs. And that project that you did really is honing in on basic needs, making sure everybody feels connected and no one gets left behind.
Yeah, it definitely goes to the part of saying not only, you know, showing yourself as leader, but putting the light on other people. With the emails, everybody chose what they wanted to work on, and we made it so that everyone had something that they could put their stamp on. Like, for example, Tana is co-chair of Fair Housing. She did the Fair Housing email. That's what she knows. That's what she's great at. So, you know, we had no problem saying, Tana, you want to take care of this? Nan Palumbo is co-chair of YPN. She did a YPN email. Ralph Gabe is in the HG Foundation. He took that. So it was all very much, what are you good at? And here's your project, put your stamp on it, put your name on it. And yeah, we all created something. It's all of us.
Well,
We have
congratulations.
our own logo that they created for it. So that will separate us a little bit. Whereas when the drip campaign clicks in, because you get real estate in-depth, legal updates, a daily HGAR update.
Right.
So our logo will be on there so people know, oh, hey, this is a fun email. This is going to give me really important information that maybe I wouldn't know if I just showed up down at the office.
Well, I hope you guys incorporate some video into those emails because I was doing drip campaign to agents, you know, just talking about our company for a long time. And then when I and I was getting like 7-10% open rate. When I incorporated video, I'm almost above 30 now. So this email, by the way, I mean, this video will get emailed out to a whole bunch of people. So a whole bunch of the members will get to see this as well as on social media. But I think that's fantastic. I wish they had that when I had gotten involved because it was tough, you know. And I remember like the one president like used to like kind of put me in a corner and be like, listen, this is how we think about things and make sure you think the same way. And I was like, oh, okay. And you all have her to blame for the way I am today. Okay.
Hey, different leadership styles. Some of them.
Tactic.
Yeah. Hitler was a leader.
That is true.
So speaking of fair housing, Tana, I know there was a huge breakthrough that happened in the past week. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So what happened is now effective immediately when somebody goes in front of a co-op board for their interview. If they are declined, they are to receive in writing why they were declined. So there were some town hall meetings that we had where one family in particular was declined 8 buyers for his co-op, and every buyer had not a granola American pie last name like Smith. And nobody knew why those people were declined. They all had basically what you would think would be the same nationality, and becomes a burden to both the buyer and the seller. Every time somebody submits an application, there's a non-refundable fee. So if that non-refundable fee for that particular co-op was $300, well, they made $2,400 on declining people. They basically made a business out of it.
Yeah.
So now it has to be put in writing. There are fines that come along with it if they don't comply. There's also a push for a mandatory 1 hour per year fair housing training for anybody that sits on a board. I'm not so sure if that's going to get put in right away, but it seems like this particular bill was introduced in 2018, and only one component of it was allowed in 2018. So that was if you decline somebody, the boards were supposed to submit paperwork to, I believe it was WRO, within 30 days of declining the person. But only 20 or 25 boards did that, yet 593 people that we know of that was reported were declined. So there was no enforcement of that, and they didn't police themselves, which is why now we ended up getting this component that they didn't allow in 2018. They now allowed it to happen today because they didn't follow through with what they were supposed to.
Okay. I'm a little frozen, hopefully not too bad.
No, we see you.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's all really great stuff. And as I said before we came on, it's been decades in the works. And you're so right how we always think of it as it impacts the buyers, which I think it impacts the buyers in a much deeper level because it's an emotional thing. And then it affects your whole housing situation. Like, what am I going to go apply for? Maybe I can only afford a co-op. And now am I going to go apply for another place and they're going to turn me down? And I don't know why I got turned down. So I don't know what to do. That's what I would think it would leave you with that impression. And also I've seen the situation when the market's in a very different situation where they were denying people because they weren't happy with the sales price.
Yep.
So now my right to be able to sell my own property, and let's say I have a family emergency or some kind of situation, that board is taking away a seller's rights to be able to liquidate their property. And I have seen that in action. So
it happened to one of my buyers.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The day before closing, the co-op came to us and said, no, you can't sell it at this price. We have a minimum that you have to meet. And we were like, we've been trying to get in contact with you for quite a long time about this. And you come to us the day before closing and tell us that we now have to sell for an extra $10,000. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Yeah.
This is just the beginning of, oversight on what has been the Wild West pretty much since they were implemented in the 80s,
Well, guess what? Commercial brokers, they're coming after you next, okay? Because there is so much that is exactly that, the wild, wild west. Mm-hmm. And it's no longer. And I don't know if you saw the big Department of Justice ruling yesterday, which it's like so much mumbo jumbo, but basically they're not looking to really cooperate with National Association of Realtors. They are looking to really make sure that we are promoting competition between each other, and we're being taken a really deep look at. So, and that's different than co-op board, but it all follows the same fair housing issues. So absolutely. So, well, I'm super proud of both of you for jumping in. And I hope that today's it's not a podcast. What is this? A vlog? Whatever it is. I hope that it inspires you to figure out what you can do, because I can tell you, never ever has a need for leadership been so enormous. And so I'm proud of you guys for taking that leap. And my question to you guys out in the audience who will watch this later, what will it take for you to step up and become a leader? And what are your leadership traits and your qualities that you can put to work? So everybody have a happy and safe 4th of July. God bless America. And if there's anything I can do to help you sell more real estate, please feel free to reach out. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.